A lot of people think cold calling is dead. I'm here to tell you it's alive and well. I just got done making 50 cold calls myself, and I'm gonna share with you my best cold calling script and tips and how it applies to both inbound leads, outbound leads. And by the end of today's video, my hope is that you feel more confident to pick up the phone today and excited to make your calls, because you know that the more calls you make, the more successful you're gonna be, the more money you're gonna earn, and the better you're gonna feel about yourself. Let's get started. So let's define what an inbound lead is versus an outbound lead, and then how to actually approach each of them with a cold call. The way I think about an inbound lead is it's a lead that's shown some intent or interest in your company, your products, your services. For example, you have a website. They go on the website, they request contact, they request a demo. This is best case scenario, as warm as it gets. Or perhaps your marketing team is doing some work and running a campaign, offering an ebook, a webinar in which a lead gives you their email. And they've shown some sort of intent that they are interested in what you are going to talk about and problems you can solve. So if a prospect requests contact on your website, this is like a fire alarm going off in your building. If a fire alarm goes off right now, I'm gonna run out of here. If a prospect requests contact for me, I'm gonna call them within a second. There's been instances where a prospect will tell me, hey, I literally just put in my email a minute ago and you're already calling me, and they appreciate that. So show urgency when prospects want to be contacted, and don't be afraid to call them multiple times in a day. I'll usually call them 2 to 3 times per day for the rest of the week if they request contact. And if they go to some sort of demo or download an ebook, you wanna treat those differently, even though they're still in the inbound category. So this is what I would say. If you just request a contact, ring, 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 ring. Hey, this is Trent from Microphone. How are you? Great. The reason I'm calling you is I noticed that you requested contact. I'm with the marketing team and I'm here to help support. What prompted you to reach out? What can I help you with here today? They'll give you some context, and if you can understand more about potential timeline, budget considerations, hey, what are you hoping that this will impact in your business? The more upfront qualification you can do, the better handoff you're gonna be able to do to your account executive or whoever is gonna end up taking the meeting. Maybe you're taking the meeting yourself and you can expedite your sales process by understanding what they're looking for. If they attend a webinar or download an ebook, when you call them, you do not want to assume that they will remember that, because they haven't blatantly requested contact. So you never want to box yourself in a corner, as I have done many times, and say, hey, the reason I'm calling you is I noticed you downloaded an ebook. How did you like it? And they'll say, what ebook? So this is what I'd say. I'd reach out, ring, ring. Hey, this is Trent from Water Bottle. How are you? Great. Well, hey, the reason I'm calling you is I noticed that you downloaded our ebook on the top 5 hit the subscribe button and like button best practice trends. Here's one takeaway I had from it. Can you tell me more about what you're looking to solve in your business as it relates to XYZ? Just a broad probing question to prompt a conversation that's value add and targeted to the content that they've shown some interest in, and then immediately go into your call to action. Well, hey, being that we've agreed that this is of interest to you here today and that we can help you with it, I'd love to connect you with a product specialist so that we can talk more about your unique situation and how we might go to help. Boom, you're gonna have a high likelihood of setting those meetings. So I think everyone understands inbound leads are warm, they have shown some sort of interest, and that's easy to do. So most reps will start on inbound and then eventually become an outbound rep. So maybe you're an outbound sales development rep if you're in tech sales, or if you sell anything else, houses, insurance, medical supplies like me, whatever it is, you gotta do a lot of outbound sales, because maybe you don't have a budget, maybe you're not running campaigns, maybe you have a small customer list, and all you can do is start cold reaching out to prospects. And that's what cold outbound looks like. You are interrupting their day, you are calling them out of the blue, you are technically a solicitator, and I just had a problem with this the other day. This lady's like, how did you get my contact information? Why did you reach out to me? And I say, I see you on LinkedIn and it's public information available. I've got a tool called Apollo, I got your direct line. And she's like, well, we still have to treat this as a solicitation call. People are gonna call you a telemarketer. People are going to be confused who you are, what you want, and why you're calling them. So in order to have a successful outbound call, it is essential to nail the first 5 seconds. So all you gotta do do is use this exact script, and this has worked for me, making 60,000 cold calls, outbound, selling software, selling medical supplies, and it's worked for different industries, different buyer personas. Ring, 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 ring. Hey, this is Trent from D&D Wholesale. How are you? Great. Hey, the reason I'm calling you is that I noticed you oversee XYZ title. Does the purchasing of vials fall in your wheelhouse? So let's stop there. The reason I asked this question is I'm selling medical supplies, specifically vials. So think if you go get medicine, this is a vial. And I'm not always certain who oversees the buying of these vials. So I'm gonna start out by asking, hey, does this fall in your wheelhouse? I believe I know who it is based on looking at Sales Navigator on LinkedIn and the titles. So I think I'm calling the right people, but once I can validate, yeah, I do oversee that. Okay, great. Well, the reason I'm calling you specifically is insert value add. Hey, we're a manufacturer, a wholesaler, we'll help you save money. I'd like to set up a brief meeting so we can do a cost comparison. So I'm going immediately into the call to action. Given my sales a bit more transactional, but that script usually works. If you're selling more of a solution, an abstract tech solution, this is what I would do. And this is what I did selling in HR software. I would call HR leaders, heads of talent, and I'd say, hey, the reason I'm calling you, Jim, is I noticed that you're the Chief Human Resources Officer. We help other leaders like you in insert industry, preferably if you know that. We help them to achieve XYZ business outcomes. We help them to increase employee engagement, retention, productivity. Any of those outcomes resonate with you? Any of those outcomes top of mind for your team today? And you're calling with an educated assumption, leading with business impact and value, because you know that one of those three outcomes you just mentioned, you know that they have to care about them. If you're in the HR space, it's obvious, but if you're calling, let's say, a leader of IT, and I've never done this, but you may say, hey, well, the reason I'm calling you is I noticed that you oversee IT. We help mitigate cybersecurity attacks. We help improve connectivity of employees. We help reduce tech that isn't being used. Whatever outcomes related to that unique buyer persona. Hey, any of those resonate with your team today? And they're gonna say, well, of course it does. Yeah, we're looking at this. Okay, great. Well, we specialize in, boom, insert your company value prop, your 5 to 10 second elevator pitch, whatever it is, and then you immediately go into the call to action. Because remember, what is the point of a cold call? Especially in B2B, it is to sell time. You are not there to get them to give you their credit card information, unless you're B2C, business consumer, and you're selling travel services, or you're selling, let's say, a free download. Maybe you try and get them to do that on the phone. That's your call to action. But if you're in B2B sales like me, you're selling high ticket, big organizations, you're gonna go into the call to action. So you've called someone successfully outbound, you've warmed up the first 5 seconds, and in the beginning, you've given them what they need to hear to validate what you're about to tell them is worthwhile to them. You give them just enough to pique their curiosity, and then you go into the close. Hey, well, being that it sounds like you care about improving employee engagement, duh, every HR leader does, let's set up a meeting to talk more about your priorities and how we can help. Would you be opposed to that? Boom, and you just got a meeting like that. So as you think about making cold calls, whether you're calling inbound leads, outbound leads, you treat them slightly different, but regardless, it's all about instantly warming up the conversation no matter who you're calling, using the key phrase, the reason I'm calling you is, and the data suggests that the more you control the conversation, the better. So you never want to box yourself into a corner by saying something stupid like, hey, well, what did you think of page 47 of that random ebook you downloaded 2 weeks ago? What ebook? And then you've already lost them. Hey, how did you get my number? Boom, you got to overcome it and then start setting the meeting. That's how I think about cold calling. And I remind myself every single morning, I'm one call away from changing my week, month, quarter. Every day, there's calls to be made, and most people aren't willing to do them, but I'm willing to do them because I think I can get myself ahead in life by doing what other people don't want to be doing. If you found value in today's video, hit the like button now. If you want to start your career in tech, I'm the instructor at Course Careers, which you may or may not know. And I've linked my free intro course in the description below that I think you would really find a lot of value from checking out. I recently started a free newsletter, which I'm also going to link in the description below. And as a matter of fact, I can do one more plug. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.